sports fans? Mr. SOS here, and I got a special guest here today. Got a writer on Sethonsports.net. If you've been there, you've had to see his writing. I put it at the top. My man Dreddy is also 7-3 on his playoff pick.
7-3, repping the pack. You know what I'm saying? You know, Super Bowl coming up.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about that. Let's get into these playoffs, man. Thus far, who was your biggest disappointment?
Besides the Packers.
I mean, obviously, I think the Packers were probably the biggest.
Right. My biggest disappointment would definitely have to be the 49ers.
Why?
I would say because, I mean, it's been some years since the 49ers actually made it to the playoffs and went this far.
Right.
You know, and to lose the game on such a stupid play, you know, because the returner should have fair caught it.
Two plays. He did two plays. Yeah.
But the one that mattered was the one at the end, right?
True.
He got 4 yards and then he fumbled. If he would have fair caught the ball, those 4 yards wouldn't have mattered anything, and they would have had a great chance at winning that game. You know, to see in this entire football season, the 2011 season, it was many surprises. It was many. Like, wow, I can't believe these teams are doing this.
Oh my God.
Again, I'll mention the Indianapolis Colts to be 4-11, which is ridiculous.
No, they were
ridiculous.
Weren't they 3-13?
They were horrible.
Whatever they were.
You know, you don't win more than 5 games or horrible.
Exactly. I can agree.
You don't win more than 6 games or horrible.
Yeah.
You know.
Coming from a team that's
the Packers, the Super Bowl champions, you know what I mean? It's always like that. The Super Bowl champion of the previous year is going to do well,
right?
You know, to come out to be 15-1,
right,
with a great chance to be 16-0. It was a great chance to be 16-0. That Chiefs game definitely was upset. We're going back to the playoffs.
Hold on, I'm gonna say something about that Chiefs game. A lot of people were happy about them moving. I wasn't, because I knew that would cause them to sit players at the end of the season. Had they won that game, they would have went for the record, and all their players would have played.
That's true.
And they would have stayed high.
I never thought about it from that perspective. I was going under the impression that it was going to be close, because if they would have won against the Chiefs, let's say they would have won against the Chiefs, what do you do from there on out? Because you know that you have momentum going to
you start the players. You want that 16-0, but because they lost that one game, I felt like it made them get comfortable, and that makes them my biggest disappointment. It hurt to see them lose, and it wouldn't have been so bad if they had made it to the conference championship. But the fact that they lost to the Giants in such a manner, to the point where it literally looked like the Packers played in slow motion compared to what the Giants were doing. You know, that offense missed so many cues, and if they re-sign Jermichael No Hands Finley,
I think Jermichael is good. There's some players on the team, and I'm not going to point any fingers, because
Ryan Grant?
At that point, we haven't had a good back since Dorsey left.
Wow.
We haven't had a consistent back since Dorsey left. Amon was great, but Amon Fumble Green.
Okay. All right.
He was good, and he got us to where we needed to go. The Packers haven't had a consistent back since Dorsey left.
Okay, well,
and that game against the Giants, it reminded me so much of when the Colts lost in the Super Bowl.
That year.
Because that was the first year with that Super Bowl when the Colts played that I saw Peyton Manning sweat. I never saw Peyton Manning ever sweat. I never saw that. And then the Packers reminded me so much of that Super Bowl that year. I forget what Super Bowl that is. Because the equilibrium was off.
Yeah.
You know, Rodgers was throwing it,
a lot of misses,
but it was those centimeters that they weren't catching. Because I believe if you're a professional football player, particularly a receiver, if a ball touches your hand,
you catch it.
You catch it.
That's why I said Jermichael No Hands Finley.
If the ball touches your hand, you catch it.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's move on. Moving on from the disappointments, because we can go on all day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We can definitely go on all day. I want to give a lot of credit to the Lions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They played the Saints really tough in that first round, and I see a lot of big things coming up for them. They're going to be one of those teams that I think a lot of people still look over, which is going to make them really dangerous, because I think they still believe that they're mature and all this.
But the thing is, it's that circle.
It is.
It's that circle, you know, and as a Packer fan, you know what I mean? When you win a Super Bowl, when you go that far for 2 seasons in a row, now you know it's a rebuilding phase.
Yeah.
Because you can be consistent, but that consistency may not take you to where you need to be. And for the Lions to be this good and be playoff bound in over 9 years to finally make it and to contend with the...
They contended with the Saints until the third quarter. Until the third quarter. They were in that game.
You can't sleep on them.
Exactly.
You can't sleep on them because they know what it takes to be a great team.
Right.
After this season, they know what it takes to be a great team. And if you're on the sideline of the Lions, if you're a Lions fan, right now is the time to get behind your team.
To get on the bandwagon.
Because they are going to be doing some damage.
Jump on. Like
now, excluding what they do in terms of contracts and getting players signed.
That's
they
need a running back.
They need a running back. You need to get your players in the mindset that we are a playoff contending team. And Sue, let's talk to him. Let's talk to him because you're gonna need some leaders are gonna have to emerge on that team.
That is true.
Right now,
they're young, but they're young. They're young and they're scrappy, and that's what I liked about it. The fact that they were so scrappy, the fact that with everything that went down with them, the suspensions, the penalties, they were still able to overcome that. That's a lot to overcome on a young team, a team especially that was undisciplined. And let me say this, because Seth says it's so. The Lions are at least going to make the NFC Championship.
I would hope so.
I think the Lions are in the NFC Championship. I won't necessarily call them Super Bowl bound, but I think they're gonna bust some heads in that playoffs.
I would hope so. This year the Lions reminded me so much of the early '90s in the Miami Hurricane, when Michael Irvin was playing for them. When
you said Michael Irvin.
And how they were just ruthless. They were ruthless on the field. It was so unorthodox for that Miami Hurricane team at that time to play like that, and for the Lions to really come in and really shake things up.
Because they were mean. They were mean. But when you get talked about for 9 years, you've been talked about. You've been the butt of every joke when it came to poopy teams. You've been literally the ass of the joke. How do you not come into a game like I want to crush you? I want to hurt you. I want to play that way.
It's still a professional team.
It is a professional team.
You still have to have
it's
that
hard,
deference.
but sometimes feelings. You know how football gets. Sometimes your emotions play way more. We got some history. That's another topic for another show. Stay tuned to Sethonsports if you want to hear the story of me and Trey here. But okay, let's get into the Super Bowl.
Okay, let's get into the Super Bowl.
And I'm
ready for it.
I want to let you. I'm going to let you kind of have your moment because I really want you to talk about the Giants because I can't really talk about the Giants because I think I'm biased and I'm going to say a lot of things that probably aren't true, and I know that. Like I will say that receiving core has emerged as easily top 3 in the league. I think they have easily shut up a lot of people. So, I mean, what do you think and how do you feel like that? What do you think they're going to do in the playoffs? Or in the Super Bowl, I should say.
In the Super Bowl. I wouldn't necessarily... They're good. It's a good receiving core. You got Nix, who's a great receiver. But they always had the potential.
They always.
Let's not forget that. They always had the potential. They always had the momentum behind them. They had Eli Manning, who I never disliked Eli. He did earn my respect after winning the Super Bowl, after beating the Patriots. And that's when I gained respect from him. Ironically, who did they beat? The Green Bay Packers to go to that Super Bowl. But for this Super Bowl, I definitely think that I do believe that the Giants are going to beat the Patriots. And I say that because the Giants defense, they had some boo-boos over the season, but I think they're gonna hold it down. They're gonna hold it down, and I think that the Patriots, as much as they want to win and really kind of redeem themselves from a couple of years back, I do think that the Giants are going to take it.
Well, it's that reason alone that I'm going for the Patriots. I'm going for the Patriots, and I do believe that I do believe they will win. And I think it's the reason of redeeming themselves. I mean, you lost in such a manner to the Giants a few years ago, along with people disrespecting your defense, especially your secondary, the same way they disrespect the Giants secondary. I do think that Giants secondary can be exposed, and I do believe that Tom Brady, if nobody else, will expose it. Now, the thing that is hurting the Patriots is the injury to Gronkowski. That high ankle sprain of Gronkowski is really going to hurt them, because with having Hernandez and Gronkowski at the tight end position, that's what gives their receivers such opening. It gives their receivers a chance, because you now have to dedicate a safety or a quarterback to one of those tight ends, because they're that good. Gronkowski has, what, a 7'4" wingspan, hands big as, basketball, and he can catch. I mean, the man is an athlete. He's a man. He's a man on the field. And the defense has stepped up so far in the playoffs. They don't look the way they did in the season, and that comes from the Patriots aura. The Patriots always do that. They have a season good enough, and sometimes they excel. But then when it gets to the playoffs, it's like something clicks, and Tom Brady is looking like Superman again. He's looking like what Cam Newton do. That's what he looked like. Cam Newton, that's what he looked like.
Greatness coming from that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the Patriots defense can stop. I shouldn't say stop, but I think how Bradshaw and Jacobs, how they ended the season and ended the playoffs, they got, they're working right now.
Okay.
It's a chain, and it's an engine, and it's full steering.
Right.
And I don't really think that the Patriots. We can talk about receiving all day long.
We can
talk about receiving
but
all day long.
That's not going to be the key to this.
That's not going to be the key to this.
It's going to be that front seven.
It's the front seven
and O-line.
It's the O-line that's going to be running, because it's the Super Bowl.
It is.
The Super Bowl have never been a throwing match.
Never.
And they shouldn't come down to that.
It should, because
Super Bowl
you got to grind it out
down to the fundamentals of football. And I don't think what they have on their defensive line, I don't think they're going to be able to stop Bradshaw.
But we shall see. And after the Super Bowl, we will have another video, and I'm going to be talking to him again, because we have to go back and see what we talked about and see who won. I can't come back in the standings right now. Honestly, it's up to you and D Jinx, who's supposed to be here. Shout out to D Jinx.
That's right.
He's 8-2 right now, and you're 7-3. So depending on who y'all pick, it could be a tie. It's looking pretty good. I think the Super Bowl is going to be one that's slept on, but I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl.
I don't think it's going to be slept on. I don't think it's going to be slept on. I don't think that. But I will say this: the NFC is going to win. And usually the NFC have always been the underdogs, particularly in the Super Bowls. But this year, and overall in general, the NFC has been much stronger, which is surprising. With the entire league, the NFC has been much stronger this year. And I'm going to say that the NFC, again, is going to keep the title. The Patriots, they're consistent. They're consistent and they're good. But I think right now, to really set up Brady, and I'll leave it at that. The Giants are going to take care of him. The Giants are going to take care of him.
All right, well, it's a big week. The Pro Bowl is tonight.
Okay.
Let's not go there.
The Pro Bowl. It's not the NBA.
The pickup.
Not NBA also.
Yeah.
It's not.
The pickup game is tonight.
The pickup game. Flag football.
Flag football is tonight. Watch that.
Two-hand touch.
Yeah, I mean, it'll give you something to watch. It'll give you something to watch this week. And just, continue to pay attention to Sethonsports. I'm sure he'll have some more articles coming from me. I don't know what he got coming this week. I'll just let you guys see it. We'll have a poll go up soon, and every week I'll make sure that I hit you guys up. Hit us up at Sethonsports.net, or hit us up at Sethonsports@gmail.com, and on Twitter at Sethonsports. If you have any questions for Dreddy, just make sure you put his name in the tagline. Till then, I'm Mr. SOS.
Dreddy, go Giants.
Go Pats. And signing out, be a fan first always. And we'll see you guys next week sometime.